How about we start with the main event, Pablo Hernandez and Alekseev. What did you make of that?
Well, it was just a cracker, wasn't it? I mean, it was one of those fights which, everyone loves to see. The guy goes down twice, he's virtually out. I think the second count was about 20 seconds long. And Alekseev came back because Pablo had sort of outpunched himself. And then, 7th, 8th, 9th, I was nervous, and 10th round he came out and it was just a cracking hook. And he's such a complete boxer, Pablo Hernandez. He's fast, he's slick, he's a quality puncher. And if you think about the fights that are taking place at Cruiserweight, I mean that's just another advert for the division. But I'm almost bored of saying that because it is such a great division, the Cruiserweight division, and that there's not one of the boxers are recognised in the pound for pounds. I find remarkable because it's a division that has produced great champions. Look at David Hay, Evander Holyfield. So it's something which I think will get more and more recognised, and people can't look away when you see the big heavyweight fights are not really happening. And you look at Cruiserweight and you see these guys who, at the Olympics it would be known as heavyweight. Then heavyweight would be super heavyweight. It's I don't know if it's a name that turns the Americans off. I have no idea because some of the Americans have been involved in great fights as well.
You've got two Cruiserweight champions in your stable, haven't you, with Marco Huck as well? And somebody just asked you whether you'd be, or whether there's a chance they could get together and battle it out in a unification fight.
I'm not absolutely. I'm never against a unification fight in our stable. And, look, in the last year I put together Povetkin Huck, which was a massive fight at heavyweight. Where Huck went up, and it was a really close fight, a great fight. We did Edward Guknesh against Jürgen Bremer this year for the European. So there's no problem in putting those fights on. The only thing is I say there's so many other options, there's so many fights to make at the moment. I mean, the list is just endless. I mean, January 25 we'll be having this same conversation and after another unbelievable Cruiserweight fight when Huck, takes on Arslan again in the rematch. And these are all great fights and they're all absolute compelling television viewing.
What did you make of Boitsov? I think there's a lot was expected of him probably in this fight against Leopai, who's probably unknown over here largely.
I think he was largely unknown in most places outside of Australia, but at the end of the day, you've got to take these chances. If we would have won tonight, he would have been assured the next Klitschko shot. So
his fitness that let him down?
Yeah, it was absolutely the fitness that let him down. But I think also, there's certain tactical things there. I mean, to let him push him against the ropes the whole time was a mistake. And let's just cut to the chase. He's not ready for a world title shot. Very simple. Does that mean he won't be ready in 2 years? I think he will. He's 27, 28. I think the kid. And he's got a long time to go. He's got a massive punch. He's got a good team around him now. And for people who don't know Dennis Boyd and they look at the record, well, there's a long story behind Dennis Boyd. So if you're not a German boxing fan, you may not know that he's had huge problems outside the ring. Actually, he's going to court on Monday in a criminal case against his former promoter. He's got that hanging over him. Yeah, against the Universal people. And there's a lot of things that have gone on, and of course he's had terrible injuries. So he hasn't had that long stretch of time to get the fights. They've sort of been sporadic, and there hasn't been a period of calm in his career. And I think that we may look on tonight in a few years' time and say, it was probably good that happened. And I say these eliminators, they're for a reason. They're to find out, are you ready? And too often there's opponents who are fighting for the heavyweight championship in the world where they simply are not ready. And that's or are not at the level. A Pianetta. Nowhere near the level. We should fight a qualification fight for the European. Marius Vach, great fighter, but about two years away. Mormek, what did he do to deserve a chance? And those are the sort of things that have to be cut out in the heavyweight division. There are good heavyweights. We signed David Price this week. Yeah, it's going to take him a year to get to a level. I'm not saying he's ready for the world title in a year, but to start fighting bigger names, it's going to take him a year to get back to that level. And but you need patience, and it's too much in our businesses, especially in the heavyweight division, where it's sort of the cash cow. Well, throw him in, we'll see what happens, and Okay, tonight we definitely lost the payday, but the payday will come if it's deserved.
Yeah. Working down again, Eddie Goodconnect, you've got quite a good stable of light heavyweights as well as cruisers. Bit of pity with his eye.
It was one of those. Quick. I mean, it didn't shake him in any way, shape, or form. The punch. It was just one of those things, it cut off, and the ref had and the docs had no choice but to stop it. To be fair, he let him have his chance. He let him go on a round, but Eddie's not the biggest puncher. He's a technician, and he was never going to put him away in a round. And I think he did. He did what he could do.
Yeah. Otto Rollin, another heavyweight who's in his fourth fight today.
Yeah.
How was you?
Early in his 20s, a couple of years he'll hopefully be boxing for a European. He's technically already very good. He's definitely got to put a little bit more power on that. But that will come. I think he turned 23 yesterday or the day before, so. He's got time, and as you see, we keep him busy. You've got to be built up, and he had an opponent tonight, which was someone who made him go the distance, and
that was expected, wouldn't it, of that guy?
Yeah, it was, so it was a good turnout. I think Yigit had a good fight tonight.
I think he was brilliant.
Yigit was brilliant.
Very impressive.
I think he stole the show at the undercard of Firat Kessler as well this year. He boxed on the undercard there, and a lot of the journalists ringside were always talking to me about Yigit. Yeah. He's a guy. I mean, he boxed one of the best fights in the Olympics last year, losing 23-22 on points to the eventual silver medalist, I believe. Great. He's a guy who comes looking for a fight, and it's normally very, very entertaining.
He said his problem is that he's punching too much. He hasn't probably made that transition from the amateurs yet.
Once again, he's a young kid. He's going places, but they'll all want to go a little bit faster, but we'll be holding them back for the right time.
Did we miss anybody out? He's not your fighter, is he, Yannick Adjou? He's a local lad, but
local boy. Yeah,
that was a quick one, wasn't it?
You need those fights. You need locals to be filled up quite nicely tonight, and we had a good atmosphere, and it was and that's because you bring on local guys as well, and I think that's an ingredient to promoting. It's maybe not for the television audience, but had them going when he went down. I think it was his first right hand that he threw.
Yeah, it was.
The opponent wasn't much, but he certainly.
Down, and then he got up,
it certainly was quite a spectacular performance
for his fans.
I was about to say he'll be looking forward to do the run on Monday around the village.
You might sign him up.
Yeah,
maybe. What do you think?
Well, I'll definitely keep an eye on him.
Keep an eye on him.
Yeah, young kid as well.
Yeah, he's from Nuremberg, I believe.
Yeah.
So another fight that's just happened. One of the big fights of the night. Froch and Groves.
Yeah.
I know that you already know the result. So
do you know the result? I mean, I was actually going to turn my phone off and try and do one of those where you watch it the next morning. But I think what I've heard is that Groves basically went to town on him early and unbelievably dropped him. And I know that Groves has got power. I also know that Froch has got a good chin, so that must have been one hell of a shot. And apparently they stopped the fight on a very dubious.
That's what I've read. That's what I'm
dubious moment. That's why I've just probably got the same information as you, so I can't really comment too much on it. But it sounds like that's got rematch written all over it.
Yeah, but something that Froch might not want.
Might not want, but at the same time, he's fighting. His last two shows have been on pay-per-view, and I think it'll be very difficult for him to go on pay-per-view without addressing that. So
what's
I think
happening
it's a
with Kessler?
He's having a break. He's a much-deserved break from a hard career, and we don't know yet what's happening really. He doesn't know. I don't think he knows himself. He's just enjoying taking time off. He's becoming a father in 3 weeks, and we'll take it from there.
He hasn't actually quit though, is he? He's
just taking a break, and probably seeing how he feels in the new year. And I'm not saying he's going to box on. I'm not saying he's going to retire. I think he's fully allowed to do either. He's fully able to take the fights at the top level, as we saw in May in London at 44, a sensational fight. And it was a narrow loser on the evening. And at the same time, I think if you wanted to call it a day, what a fight to go out on. I mean, there was no real loser that night. The big winner was boxing.
Last one then. Helenius and Gerber.
Yeah.
What's the state of play with those guys? Are they still Sauerland fighters? Because I only read rumours on forums about what they're doing.
Those forums like to spread some rumours, but no, I mean Gerber's been released. His contract hasn't been extended.
Okay.
After the Chisora fight, we felt it was time to go our separate ways. Helenius is still very much with us. He's just relocated his training to Finland, but there's nothing to read into that. He's split with his trainer. So, what happens on the training front will also be announced in a few weeks. He's training with his father at the moment, Kalle Sauerland, same name as me, so obviously a great trainer. They make a good team, father and son. So, we'll see. But I mean, Robert is destined for big things in the heavyweight division, and we're going to definitely working together.
He's still doing great stuff. Okay, what was I going to say? I was going to say something else as well. David Price. Can you tell us anything about David Price, about when he might be active? Or
I'll put it this way: we'll make an announcement next week, but it's definitely before the end of the year. We haven't got too many shows till the end of the year now, so people can guess. Brilliant. But I formally will announce that next week, and we're going to be keeping him very busy. Not just based in Germany. We're going to probably have him out in Denmark as well. Put him on maybe in the States on a show. I want him to get experience, of course, in the ring, but I want him to also get experience boxing around big events in different countries, because when you box for that heavyweight championship of the world, you have no right as a challenger to demand where it is, unfortunately. And, we saw now Vladimir Klitschko having to travel to Russia. I want David to
he's
have
familiar with Liverpool, isn't he?
I mean, I think he's a great guy, but B, he's one hell of a talent. He's people. I actually quite enjoy people writing him off, because I know what he's capable of. I'm very, very happy he's with Adam Booth, who I rate very highly as a trainer. And I think Adam is not only a great trainer, but I think Adam knows the tricks in the ring. He's not called the Dark Lord for nothing. And I think he's the right move there. And that was obviously nothing to do with us. That happened well beforehand, and but shows that David's.
How did it come around that you signed David then? Did he approach other promoters, or did you go to him, or how did it come up? Okay.
No, I'm joking. No, basically it was a conversation I had with someone who I won't reveal, but. He said, "Rod, he's a free agent," and I'd heard he was, but I put a call in, and we met up the next day, and we got on very well, and I had to make a lot of decisions based on gut feelings as well, and it just felt right with him. We felt immediately like we could work together, and I know what we can do with him. I really know what we can do, and he could really be an absolute sensation.
You're really excited about him?
Yeah, I am. I'm buzzing about him. I really am.
And is he going to stay?
I'm always
UK?
buzzing about proving people wrong.
Is he staying in the UK to train?
Yeah, he will stay. He will stay. Absolutely nothing changed. We're not going to move him away from the UK. I saw a few media reports saying we're going to move him here and there. No, he is a UK fighter. He will stay in the UK. We will promote him in the UK. All I'm saying is give us some space and some time to take him away. We're going to call it a little bit the David Price World Tour. I hope we get a bit of a Scouser following on that. And then we'll have our big homecoming next year.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks for your time, Cal. I know it's late. I do appreciate it. I really do.
It's 2 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll get going now.